Welcome to the second half of the Bobby Dupre Show, and I forgot to introduce my sidekick, Mr. Andrew Gitros.
I'm only going to get half my pay this
Most
week.
of you know him, and those that are maybe the first timers, this is Andrew, my sidekick. And
Brand new on the show.
We only have to pay him a half because we didn't introduce him the first half. I wanted not to introduce him, but he egged me on. He said,
I
did
gotta
you forget
at
me
least a little bit.
during the 3-minute break
I'll
we
take
had?
half pay. I understand how that works.
And talking about the 3-minute break, we have a number of sponsors that we have sponsors on the break at the mid break, and then we have sponsors that we mentioned, two different type of sponsors.
Yes, sir.
And our sponsor, Melanson Funeral Home, which is on the break, were featured in what's going on in the Acadiana area. The Daily Advertiser every Sunday does a feature article on what's going on here. And the Melanson Funeral Home is having a significant expansion of the funeral home's facilities. The whole facilities are being, I'm talking about from the parking to the cemetery display, the file storage facilities will be enlarged. They're going to include expanding the chapel, adding 2 parlors, enlarging the coffee room, and enlarging the foyer area. So
top to bottom,
they plan on being there, and of course at the same time they also own and operate out of that facility Melanson Life Insurance Company. Thanks, Mr. Gerald, and all of your family and friends, and we thank you very much for our business.
Mr. Lloyd Ardoin here in Opelousas.
Yes, and the son is Casey. Casey Melanson is the director here.
There you go.
The giant 2057 egg omelet celebration. I don't know what this 5027.
That's how many eggs it takes to make the omelet.
make
it takes
the omelet.
5,027 eggs to
I
make the
guess
world's record.
Every year, I guess
Gotta add another
they
egg.
add another egg.
Make a bigger record.
Because this is the 27th annual omelet celebration, and that's taking place this weekend, November 5th and 6th, in historic downtown Abbeville. And of course, I'm happy to advertise that because I have ownership in 2 businesses there. We have OPAC Financial Services, and then we also, I'm one of the investors in Integrity Supply. Good morning to Miss Vicky Frederick and Mr. Marty over there, and Miss Celeste and the rest of the staff with Integrity. Good morning to all of you. And hopefully they'll have a nice weather and a big attendance. It's almost as big as this room, this egg.
It's
and
big.
That was started, I'm almost sure it was Mr. Roy Terrio. I'm pretty sure that's who started this 27 years ago. He was a politician at some level, maybe the state level, and he started inviting his friends from across the state to come and attend.
And around
us.
the world, because they come all the way from Belgique, they come from Argentina, from Quebec, from Caledonia. Man, they come from France, so it's going to be a big crowd.
Big crowd.
A lot
nice,
of eggs to eat.
Nice event, and brings a lot of people into Acadiana.
I like an omelet. How about Benny's Supermarket, man? Go to Mr. Benny's and get your groceries. This week, man, I was watching over at Sunrise Fast Cash. They had got some plate dinners at Mr. Benny's. You know, when I go, I try to watch myself. I try to get a little bit of fruit. I try to get a little bit of salad. You know, they got the best of the best fruit and produce around. But Mr. John Hadley was getting one of them good plate dinners that they have, 7 days a week from the little department there where you can get good plate dinners. And let me tell you, it was so much he couldn't eat it in one sitting. Or he might have been able to eat it in one sitting, but he had to go to sleep, I think. It was a big, beautiful meal.
I have a question.
Yes.
Talking about John Hadley, how is his father-in-law, Mr. Huey Semino?
Mr. Huey Semino is doing much better. I know he went, they just had homecoming for the McNeese Cowboys. He was a star football player for the McNeese Cowboys down there. I know he went for some of the events down there, getting around a little bit. Yeah, starting to get around.
Good morning, Huey.
Huey's doing well. Give him a call, perk him up, give him a holler. I know he'd like to hear from you. If you haven't heard from him, he's home and doing well.
Good.
But Benny's Supermarket, you got Miss Mary's gift shop in there, Little Benny's Sports Shack for your nutritional supplemental needs. They got a great meat department, great beer and wine selection. Go by. One more sponsor, while I got you catching your breath. Yep. How about the Quarters Casino? Go by the Quarters Casino. Gaming. You can go by 24/7 and do a little bit of gaming there in the casino portion. The Travel Plaza's open the whole time, too, with some of that good old gasoline that you can get there, good Chevron gas. They got the Mexican Cantina open Monday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. with authentic authentic Mexican food, 2-for-1 margaritas with your meal. Go by and have a fiesta right there at exit 23 north of Opelousas.
Got a nice thank you letter from Joan Daigle Mayer. And she's got here
Glass. Last name.
Oh,
Mayor Glass.
Mayor Glass. Okay,
She married a
good.
Glass.
She wanted to thank us for mentioning the St. Landry Cemetery tour, and of course her aunt, Miss Bertie Daigle. That's nanny to us kids.
Right.
You attended
some
that and
photos.
showed some photos and all. And she says the picture you showed in the cover, I have from Letters from Nanny. Isn't that a little bitty world? Appreciate, Joan, very much you responding like this. Nice to get a thank you, but mostly to learn a little bit more and pass this on to our locals. This is
So much history that people don't know about.
She was a Second World War. I think she was a nurse.
Was perhaps the first white woman in Asia during the Second World War. I mean, you know, when they landed over there, they had to have nurses, and she was one of the first ones there.
How about that? You're bringing me some good information.
Carl's Thrifty Way, all your medicinal needs. Carl's Thrifty Way can fill your prescriptions. They can help you out if you're looking for stuff over the counter, looking for stuff from behind the counter as well to fill your prescriptions and compound multiple medications to make it easier for you to take. They'll take the time to talk with you that maybe your doctor doesn't have. And they've got a great gift selection, monogramming and all that going on. You know, the holidays are right here. You want to pick up those last-minute gifts or some of those nice, real nice gifts. They do all the home decorating as well. Huge decorations. They came, that beautiful thing they did over your fireplace last year, I guess it was when that was. Nice job at Carl's Thrifty Way.
Yes, that was last year. On the debt side, Mr. Willis Ashford. I think Willis was originally from maybe the Eunice area, but had been living in Opelousas for years and years. And I knew him from back in 1955. And they said, whoa, why you remember him from that? Well, in 1955, Mr. Bill Barstow, Mr. Tracy's daddy, and Mr. Charlie Reeves from Eunice, they provided me with a part-time job. Worked in the summer, and then during the school year, I worked at Mud Supply Company, which those two gentlemen, Mr. Bill was the overall big manager over several locations, and Mr. Charlie Reeves was over the Opelousas area, and he opened Reeves Mud Services over in Eunice, and I think that business is still in operation. But anyhow, getting back to Mr. Willis, I remember him well, a good, hard-working person, and my deepest sympathies on his recent death. The burial took place this past Saturday. Another person who I remembered from a number of years ago, and of course I knew her husband, and let's see, her husband was, I'll get in, Benoit Weibel. That was kind of he had
two last names.
Two last names, and I knew him well. They lived out on the Lewisburg Highway there, and I know a son very well, Patrick Weibel, Miss Annabelle's son, and then another one, Jerry Wayne, lives also in the Opelousas, and then a daughter who works with one of the home health services. You see her picture all the time in the newspaper, and I'm speaking of Donna Marie Weibel, and number of sisters and family members, my deepest sympathies. And I have one more to talk about here, and that's Dr. Edward Joseph Haney. Dr. Haney lived all of his life that I can see reading this very extensive article, obituary, in today, Wednesday's Daily Advertiser. He'll be held, the funeral service will be held today, Thursday, November the 3rd at 1:30 p.m. And it's going to be in the Martin and Castile Fleur-de-Lis Chapel in Lafayette. Dr. Haney was age 88. Now, why do I remember him? I'll tell you why. Back in about 1950, between 55 and 57, sometime just before eating supper, I developed a terrible toothache, and got on the phone and I started calling, and it was a little after 5 o'clock,
So
maybe
everybody was
5:15. Everybody was closed. Finally, I didn't give up. I finally got to the H's, Dr. Haney, and he personally answered the phone. I told him I was from out of town. I was suffering real bad. Before I could finish telling the story, he said, Shaq, come on down and I'll take care of it. And of course, we remained friends for many, many years. Just recently, Pierre Mistro, CC Chemical Company, was calling on a firm where he was, I guess, living at one of these retirement homes, and I think he maybe was the owner of the home.
Sure. Rosewood Retirement.
He was a very active landlord for many, many years. Had a lot of apartments that he rented to college students and all. Well known. And I used to see him when we used to have to go to the fights. Before the fights, the boxing became popular on television, we'd go to Lafayette and watch on the big screen. You remember those days? Well, Dr. Haney and I would meet there. I mean, I have such fond memories. My deepest sympathies on his death to all of his family. And he was Lebanese, is what I understand. And there's other Lebanese names, Saloom. He was preached by his parents. His mother was a Saloom. And then
Pharaoh in the family.
And Hike.
The Hikes.
Ted Hike. I'm going to talk about Ted Hike in a minute. And just a whole big family of
the Cajun Lebanese, I guess the best way to say it. Acadiana's Lebanese family.
Lebanese family, you're right.
Barry Primo, the magician, will be back at the Delta Grand Theater on Saturday, November the 12th at 7 p.m. Admission's $10 for adults, $5 for children. 10 or under, you can get tickets at Sebastian Dupre Fine Jewelry or Wanda's Florist. Go by. Miss Tammy Lamani sent us that.
Okay,
we got to show photos.
We got to show some pictures real quick. You bet.
This is one we got in from Mr. Philip Cresswell.
Philip Cresswell, and of course that's Mr. Larry Lalonde and Mr. Gerald Doman and Bobby Dupre at the boxing reunion. Now, I had asked that Philip and his wife send me a copy of the shirt, so they took a picture of it, and here it is, and that's in black. That's Opelousas High. And I'm going to go and get one made, and then I'll show you, and I'll give you all the details of how much they cost and everything. I'm suggesting that all of us that are old-timer boxers from Opelousas
get them, so when y'all go to the reunions.
So when we go, that's right. A lot of the other schools have them, and we never did. It's time for us to get on the ball.
Just in case y'all start fighting again, too.
And there.
One of the other boxers?
Yep. Well, he was our manager, and we're talking about Paul Prudhomme. K. Paul's Restaurant, famous worldwide, and his wife, Lori. And the
last time when they'd come to Opelousas, they were courting at that time.
They were courting at that time. That was in February of this year for the gumbo we had. We held that. We want to thank the principal and assistant principal over at Park Vista, Ulysses and Robert. And a lot of other pictures here. Eric Leger in the middle with his grandson, and then Lily. Thibodeau. Howard Thibodeau's brother. We have a picture of Howard in here somewhere. There's Lily again and his wife. And here we are, Bobby LaBourgeois sitting on the left. And one of the Gascon brothers out of Plaquemine, they were state champs. Jerry and Anita Ducharme on the right. And here we are with Aubrey Vidrine in the blue shirt, and Riley Fontenot, who was, we lived about a half a block from each other, and he was kind of my protector. He was about a year or so older than me.
He'd look out for you.
Kept me out of my big mouth trouble. And here's Larry sitting down again. And then on the right is Philip Cresswell, Gerald Dolman, his wife, and then all the way in the kind of reddish orange shirt is Philip's wife, Cresswell.
And even got you in one of the photos.
That's right. Then I gave the camera to somebody else, and they took us. And here's two boxing coaches for many, many years in the Lafayette, Acadiana area, Bo Williford on the right, and Mr. John Stute on the left.
Still active in boxing today.
Mr. John retired. He finally retired. He made him come and take the ring down at his place of boxing. And here's Sid Turner, who now lives in Las Vegas, but would never miss one of these events. And he watches the program every week.